If you're in a 6 or 7 figure business and you struggle with finding the right talent, this is the video you need to watch. Over the past 10 years, I've helped more than 100 companies hire over 500 people, so I know a thing or two when it comes to hiring. And in this video, I'll tell you the 2 biggest mistakes SMEs make when it comes to hiring people and the thing that increased my number of applicants by 113% in the last year. But before we dive in, I'm just getting this channel off the ground, so can I ask you a small favor? Hitting subscribe is completely free for you, but it's really valuable for me. And I promise that in return, I'll keep earning your trust with the best content I can make so I can help you make more money and build real freedom. So thanks for the love and let's get into it. And the first mistake I see is that people or companies focus too much on actively looking candidates. And actively looking candidates are people who've decided to quit their job and that are actively looking for a new one. And doing so, most probably you've placed your job descriptions or job ads on job boards, on your company website, and you told your employees about it or some people you know. And that's perfectly fine to hire those actively looking candidates, but the reality today is that 30% of candidates are actively looking and 70% are passive candidates. And if you're not targeting them, well, you're missing out on the piece of the pie. Because the thing is with job boards that, as I said, only people who are actively looking for a job are on Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster, Stepstone, whatever it is that you're posting your job on. And that's one of the biggest problems because it gives companies a false sense of security. You post your job on there and then you don't get applicants and then you blame the market or you blame conditions or you blame the area where your business is in. But most of the time, it's complete bullshit. You're not being seen enough. That's the real reason why you don't find people. I mean, nobody ever slipped and fell on a job board and sent their resume. So what do you need to do? Or what's the second thing you most probably do? And most probably you've placed your job ad on your company website. And that's great. I mean, by all means, keep doing that because when people go on your company website, they can apply for a job. But there's a big caveat on this. And the caveat is that people have to know, one, you exist, because if people don't know you exist, they won't go to your website and they won't be able to apply for your job. And 2, they need to know that you're hiring. And some people who like your job or who like your company will go on your company website maybe now and again to check if you're looking to hire somebody. But if they only look when you're not hiring, they will never get a chance to apply and you will possibly miss out on great people. And the third thing, as I said, is that most companies also rely on word of mouth. And so they tell their employees that they're hiring somebody and they tell maybe friends and family that are hiring, and maybe, you post like a sticker or whatever outside of your company just to say, I know hiring truck drivers or I don't know what. And also it can work, but unless you have a really strong network or brand or reputation, you won't hire the majority of people from there, unless you do it correctly, but I'll come back to that later. So that's about it for the companies who focus on actively looking candidates. And the second thing I want to talk to you about today is that you need to stop hiring and you need to start selling. Because hiring is a lot like sales. But instead of selling your product or your service to a prospective client, well, you're selling the job or your company as an employer or career prospective hires, let's call them. So instead of prospecting for clients, you're now prospecting for candidates. And the thing is that the biggest mistake I see is that job ads very often are those long lists of bullet points with only tasks. You will do this, you will do that, then you do such and such. And then it goes to the profile of the candidate and you have a master's degree and you have 5 years of experience and you speak English and Spanish and you have a certificate in whatever you want people to have a certificate in. And the thing is, it's not very attractive. And just like in sales or more in marketing, the way you package your product, the way you present your product to the client will make the client think, oh yeah, well, this is what I need, this fits my needs. Well, it's the exact same thing when you're hiring people. When you're hiring people, they have to read your job ad, your job description and think like, okay, well, this is what I need to do. This is the job I need to apply for because if I get that job, I will be very happy because it fits what I'm looking for. It gives me a challenge, it gives me a purpose, good salary, and whatever they're looking for. Because something you must understand is that job hunting or choosing a job is also very often an emotional process. So you need to trigger something on the emotional side and not write job descriptions like you're dead inside. But let's say you write great job descriptions and you get people through the door and they're sitting in front of you at a table. Good for you. Then my question is, what's your recruitment pitch? And by recruitment pitch, I mean you have a sales pitch. When you're selling your product or services to clients, then you have a sales pitch. But with candidates, what's your recruitment pitch? Because again, you're still selling and the way you present your company matters. Because let me give you an example. In situation A, you're in a super good mood. You just had great news and weather's nice outside and you landed that big client and everything's going great. And you're talking with that candidate and you're very happy and outgoing and fun and they really enjoy who you are. So that's situation A. Situation B is you're grumpy as fuck. You had a bad day, it's raining outside, that client just dropped you and you're in a hurry. So the candidate's guilt and that candidate gets grumpy old you. Who do you think that candidate will work for? Version A or version B? The happy guy or the sad old fart? I think that 99.9% of people will go for option A. And the thing I want you to avoid, let's be real for a second, is that you cannot let circumstances affect the way you hire. You might be in a hurry, you might be in a bad mood, something big might have happened, but it's still not that person's fault. And just in sales, you get only one chance at a first impression. And that first impression matters because that first impression is what's going to define if that candidate is going to come back on a second interview or even accept your job offer. And that's why you need to have a recruitment pitch dialed in. And ideally, you need to hire with a presentation, just like a sales presentation, highlighting all the facts and figures and benefits and advantages and whatnot about your product or service. It needs to do the same for your company as an employer. So why are you a great employer? Why should people work there? Why do people work there? Put some testimonials in of the people working there, and also another sales comparison, testimonials of clients, testimonials of employees. Other people's words, other people's opinions are so much more valuable than yours. So stop selling from where you're standing and start selling the job from the perspective of the people already doing the job. And this brings me to my next point, is that you need to let people have lunch with you. Unless you're hiring for a completely remote position, let people have lunch. And by letting people have lunch, you do a few things. And the first thing is that you let them experience how the company is. You let them meet their colleagues, their future managers. Maybe you can give them an extra tour. But if they like the people they will work with, you've got a really, really big chance people will end up signing with you and not with your competitor. You know why? We're going back again to the emotional part of choosing a job. If they like the people, they will think they will like the job. And this is why you need to put the human first. I hate the term human capital that they use now instead of human resources and whatnot, but the matter of the fact is that you're still working with humans, and until AIs replace every last one of us, you will have to deal with people. So you need to put a human in the center. And the second thing this does for you is that it lets you avoid mismatches, because I'm sure you've experienced this. You interview somebody, conduct a great interview, look even greater on paper, and get excellent references. But you hire them, and 2 days in, you know, this is not going to work out. So what do? Yeah, well, most probably you have to fire that person, and it costs you time, money, effort, disappointment from colleagues and whatnot. So by letting people have lunch, you also see them in some more kind of informal setting. And that's a better example of how they are going to behave when they're at work. And this is why you need to let them have lunch with you, or if you have a company event or after work thing going on, invite them to that one, but just do something with them that is not work. Because it's been proven by I don't know what, how and when, but it's been proven that when people are eating, are more relaxed and they're more in touch with who they really are, and then you bypass the act people are holding up or presenting to you when they're actually in a meeting room with you, showing their best selves to impress you and to make sure you want to hire them. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is that you have to start using paid channels. And this is how I increased my number of applicants by around 113% this year only. And if you want to know, we get around 7,000 applicants per year, so it's a few thousand people more. But before I get into how I exactly did that, there's something else I want to talk to you about, which is the hiring bonus or reference bonus or however you want to call it. I own a recruitment company, and this year we're the 26th of November, we've hired around 90 something candidates for our clients, resulting in around $1.5 million in revenue. So that means we get paid around $15,000 on average. And if you're like most SMEs I work with and you're willing to pay that kind of money to a recruiter, but you give a voucher to go have lunch or cinema tickets or whatever to your employees when they bring somebody on, you're a dipshit. Truly, I mean it. You're underpaying your people, you're taking advantage of them. That's not the way to go. If you cannot justify paying $15K to an unknown recruiter and giving jack shit to your employees. And really, I mean that in the most respectful way possible. I don't want to offend anybody here, but I just want you to understand something. You know, every now and again, I take on a coaching client to help them figure things out with their own recruitment. And the reference bonus is one of the things, well, it's a second thing, actually, I've had the most success with clients when it came to hiring, because people will do a lot of things for money, but not for 2 cinema tickets. But as I was saying, you don't have to go and pay your employees $15,000 if they bring on something like you would pay a recruiter, because that recruiter probably had a lot of software costs and overhead costs and salary costs and whatnot. So, you know, to some extent, it's justified. But what would your employees do if you would pay them $5K over a 12-month period? So you pay them 400 something per month. What do you think they would do? And this is exactly why the biggest hack is just paying your people more to tell their friends that you're hiring. Because for 2 cinema tickets, they will tell their friends that you're hiring if their friends tell them first that they're looking for a new job. But for 5K, chances are they will pick up their phone and start calling their friends who they know are qualified for the job and tell them, hey, we're hiring, it's such a great place and I thought of you. Hey, buddy, it would be so nice if we could work together. You'd be such a great fit for the company and for the team. And then suddenly you will start finding salespeople in your production department or wherever it is, because they will have that 5K incentive. And the reason why you don't pay it all up front but over a year is that people will do a lot of things for $5,000. And $5,000 is just an example, but choose an amount that really moves people. But please don't be cheap. Now, about my 113% increase in candidates. What I've done is this. I started advertising jobs on Meta, and it's Facebook and Instagram. And instead of running ads for more clients, I started running them for more candidates. So you can push your jobs on Meta. It's a special category. It's not something I invented. Meta is actually built for this, but I don't know why only a small percentage of people use it. You can run your job ads on Meta, and then you can target certain people, certain demographic in a certain area to push the job to. Because remember, recruitment is like sales. Instead of selling your product, you sell the job, and you need to make your ads in the same way. As I said, this helped me more than double my amount of candidates I got in the last year, and the reason is simple. It's like the average 25 to 45-year-old spends 2 hours on this thing right here, just scrolling their life away. And you know what happens? They're scrolling on their phone, they're chilling, and then suddenly they see your job ad pop up and they had a bad day. Their boss called them out. They were stuck in traffic. A client yelled at them and they see your ad and they're like, well, what do you know? Maybe I should apply for this job. And that's how you reach 70% of the market. It's a 70% of the passive candidates that you can target is a 70% that hasn't actively decided yet that they're going to change jobs, but for some reason are willing to at least listen. And that's how you get your foot in the door. Because as I said, nobody trips, falls, and lands on your job aid or on LinkedIn or whatever, but everybody spends time on their phone scrolling through social media. And in my experience, you don't need to spend tremendous budgets. If you spend around $20 to $25 a day, it will be plenty for most entry-level roles. Don't follow you on social media in general, well, then probably organic content will take a really long time before you see results, but you can choose to make a few pieces of content, look which one performs best, and then boost that as a job ad. And if you want more videos about hiring people or growing your team, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you want me to talk about. Let me know what your struggles are. I promise I will do my best to make valuable videos for you so you can grow your company with the right people. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.